In the late season in Utah, the marsh pretty much freezes up. And so the way to target these birds is we find the pockets that they're keeping open, and they'll bounce around from the lake back onto the marsh in these open holes. We'll throw out 40, 50 decoys, some silhouettes, and we'll hide right on the ice, white suits, and we'll target them as they're moving back and forth. My name is Casey Smith, born and raised in northern Utah. Primarily my waterfowl hunting is done in Utah, from early season teal and mallards to late season hunting on the ice for divers and puddle ducks. So the environment we're hunting today is part of the Great Salt Lake ecosystem. We're hunting the marshlands that surround it. Primarily it's frozen right now. It's kept open by the birds utilizing it for feed and roost. The Great Salt Lake is part of a massive flyway for migrating birds from Canada all the way down to Mexico. We have the Bear River Bird Refuge just to the north, which houses hundreds of thousands of birds at any given time. Further to the south, we have the actual Great Salt Lake. We're hunting right basically in the middle of them, targeting the birds as they move off the lake and head down south. I got my start waterfowl hunting about 6 years ago. I just took an interest in it, and I found a local guy that had been hunting the marsh here in Utah for about 30 years. I started picking his brain, asking him some questions, and he turned out to be one of my best friends and mentors, Tony Smith. He's taught me everything I know about waterfowl hunting. He knows every square inch of the marsh from the north border to the south, where to go for targeting certain species, different conditions, such as today hunting out on the ice, targeting canvasbacks and divers. Being on the ice, it took a scouting effort to find those birds. We'd put about 4.5 hours in the vehicle with binoculars looking for the birds to hunt. We were up north at the refuge, and it just wasn't looking like it was going to be a good hunt. Few birds, lots of ice, nowhere to really hide. So we ended up finding the spot that we hunted on the backside of the bay, and after looking at where the birds were coming from, that seemed to be the best option for a good hunt and to really get a taste of what late season hunting in Utah is all about. So the migration here in Utah is very dependent on the weather. So an unseasonably warm year, the birds will stay up north, so you have to really grind it out and find where the birds are hitting. Colder weather seems to make a big push, and we can really target in on where the birds are feeding and where they're flying through. We have local birds, but the majority of our hunting is done with migrating birds. The colder years push the birds down to Utah pretty quick. This year we had pretty mild weather, and so the birds just kind of trickled in a little bit at a time from Canada on their way down to Mexico. You know, when I was first starting, I didn't realize the depth of waterfowl hunting, the different species and what all goes into it. That first year I really took it seriously. I went to Alaska to hunt king eiders, knocked out 20-something different species. I've since traveled Canada, different states, Oregon, Montana, chasing waterfowl. Last year I was lucky enough to draw one of the 25 non-resident emperor goose tags in Alaska. So I went up there and harvested a emperor goose and brant and sea ducks, and it's just every day's different, and as they say, there's no fences in the sky, so you really don't know what's going to come in. I mean, we've got guys here in Salt Lake that shoot sea ducks and scoters and all kinds of cool birds out here, and so I think that's the big allure, is you really don't know what's going to come in. Could be the trophy bird of a lifetime anytime you go out. It's kind of a different style hunting, just laying out here in white suits, but it's really effective if you can do it right, because the birds need to eat. And as we get late season
and everything starts freezing up, their food source becomes limited. So if you can target one of these holes, the shooting can be just about as fast as you can reload on sometimes. When the scouting and the effort to get to the spot and then the birds, when it all comes together, it's super rewarding.